It's Holy Thursday, baby.
I'll post a video of this. I one of my go-to dances, or like a dance that I can do, is the backyardigans walk. I'm like really good at it.
I don't know it, but I can't wait
I'll
to see
show
it.
you, yeah.
My name is Claire.
And I'm Molly.
And this is
Book Stupid.
Watching you try to scoot up in your big chair just reminded me. I went to the gynecologist this week, the one we both go to.
Yeah.
And I was like, this time I'm gonna scooch up the right amount, because you know how like
Into the stirrups?
Into the stirrups. I don't know if this happens to you, but always I scooch down and they always have to say, keep coming.
Come here, come.
And I always have to go, okay, yeah.
You make them work for it?
Well, okay, so I said to our doctor, I scooched, I was like, today I'm gonna get it right. So
You play Precious Pushy?
I need a pushy present every time I do this. I was like, I'm gonna really give it a good scooch, so she doesn't have to say, come on.
But you're very long-legged.
I guess, but I thought I gave it my
You
all.
got gams.
She goes,
Gave it my all.
I gave it my all. She goes, one more scooch. And I said, I literally made a joke. I was like, I want one day to get it right. Get my scooch right.
Did she laugh?
She laughed and she goes,
Good.
She goes, oh my God, no one ever gets it right. She was like, it never ever happens that someone correctly scooches the right amount. I always have to say, keep scooching.
She was also the one to be like, now what ethnicity are you? Don't say white.
Really? Oh, I love her.
I was like, you got me. I was gonna. She's like, no, dig deeper.
She was like, keep scooching.
Irish. Yeah, we got
Irish.
there. Yep. So how you been? What you been up to?
What have I been? Really, not a whole lot. I have been. I've been kind of enjoying that the weather is starting to turn.
Totally,
Although
sister.
it's a real. Hi, this year has been like, just do it already. Like,
scooch.
keep scooching.
Keep scooching.
Keep scooching.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like we finally had weather this week where I could walk home from work,
Which is
which was
what
really
a treat.
Nice. It's a long walk, but sometimes it's nice. You
It
know?
kind of makes you like feel alive again.
Totally. I was about to go 100%.
No, you leave the office like Flat Stanley, and then by the time you're home, you're 3D.
Puffed back up.
Yeah, you're puffed up.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
No, totally. I had to walk from there to the open mic that I host on the Upper East Side, and it was like totally rejuvenating. And it's like
really
you get
nice.
little. I think it's nice from a writing perspective too, because you get such like little slices of life.
You're scooping my most romantic.
Sorry.
It's okay. It'll be a good.
I'm setting the groundwork more.
You're foreshadowing.
English majors,
Authors.
and authors perhaps. So yeah, I've been walking. But that's kind of it.
Well, we also hung out.
We did hang out.
We hang out all the time.
Like kind of a lot.
Yeah, but we went on a little outing to see Drop.
We did. We saw Drop in theaters. Support your local AMC. It's okay.
Drink if you love AMC.
That's like in the movies when it's like, oh, yeah, grab a popcorn.
Glug, 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 glug.
But silence those cell phones.
Unwrap your candies now. I'm like, I got 1,000 fucking candies.
We saw okay. We saw Drop, starring
Megan Fahey.
Thank you.
And the guy who's now typecast.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know what his name is. The love interest in this movie, she plays like a recovering victim from domestic violence, you find out over the course of the movie.
A survivor.
She's a survivor, thank you. I don't know what I was doing there. And she's a therapist who mainly treats domestic violence survivors, and you like find out. It's a mystery thriller.
Yeah.
And whatever. And she's on a date with this guy. Brandon Sklenner, thank you, Jupes. So I had only ever seen Brandon Sklenner once before in what I thought was his breakout role it ends with us.
Right.
So I'm like, he only does domestic violence movies.
Right, and his character in both, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler, he is the foil to
The good guy.
an abuser.
He is the good guy. Yeah.
He's kind of the guy who comes and, you know,
he's like, that's
picks up
wrong.
the pieces.
What he did to you was wrong.
I don't think it's right to do that.
I would never.
Yeah. So great for him that he's kind of seeing a lot of success in that lane.
Yeah, it's a very narrow lane he's got, but
I don't know, 2 blockbusters in a year.
Yeah.
And Megan Fahey famously, I give her picture to my hair colorist.
Yes, and
today's a bad representation of that. It's been 8 months since
but I think it still looks good.
I have recession indicator hair right now, but
I don't think you do.
I have an appointment on the books.
Very excited.
And I think I will give her Megan Fahey again.
Yes, as you should.
She's just beautiful.
She really, that I think was like the whole time I was just like, she is just so pretty. And you said afterwards, so the whole premise of this movie is she's on a first date with this guy. She starts getting these like mysterious text messages that her son is being held hostage with her sister at her house. And it's like, she finds out this is such a spoiler, but she finds out.
It's like the commercials essentially give the same amount of information.
She finds out that she has to kill. Sorry, Jupes. She finds out that she has to kill him because he found out something about the mayor.
Mm-hmm. He's an informant.
Hilariously named Mayor Adams.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I think you thought I was kidding when I said
went
that.
right over my head. I was like, why does she keep hammering this Mayor Adams joke? Like, yeah, it's funny.
The mayor in the movie was named Mayor Adams.
That's so funny. It was also of Chicago. I was like, I'm a little hard pressed to believe, like, but then Chicago politics famously corrupt.
True.
So maybe many have died.
Yeah, maybe they're telling the story.
Drop is telling. It's a truth teller film. Yeah. Yeah, but he's an informant on the mayor.
He's an informant, and the whole premise is they're on this date, and she is acting crazy. And Molly like leaned over, and she was like, "No man would stay for this
throughout this date."
And I was like, "Well, she is beautiful."
She is. She's like, and I was kind of like, I don't think anyone's hot enough that I would say.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just that she was, like, behaving badly. It's that she was, like, behaving weirdly. And I...
Suspiciously.
Freak out vibes, like, I'm out.
Yeah.
You're... My gut is that you're being weird. I'm out of here.
Yeah, you don't like when, like, there's, like, mess. Like, loud mess, I feel like. And she was, like, spilling wine and, like, running off to the bathroom mid-sentence.
She's freaking out all the time. Yeah. I'm like, okay, you're doing something bad.
Yeah. You're trying to kill me?
And that is the thing. If I were him, I would know by, like, appetizers that she was trying to kill me.
Well, do you think that's kind of, like, because you're a woman?
Yeah.
Like, where it's like, oh, man's acting weird. He's trying to kill me.
No, totally. But I would know. Yeah. Any woman probably would.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to reduce. I think you have a special... I think you especially would know.
No, but I think you're right. If it were a same-sex date, wouldn't have gotten off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked. But that was good.
I did like it. I think there were parts where I was like, this is crazy in not a great way.
Well, and that's actually my only, venue for horror. It has to be so camp.
Yeah.
And it was. So I thought it was fun and pulpy, and it actually
did. You think it was campy on purpose?
Kinda. The director has done other,
okay.
like Scream and stuff. What else I got?
Do you want to talk about your sleep issues?
Yeah, like, my big thing this week is I'm not sleeping at all. It's been, 4 nights now. Hector, the puppy, has gotten bold. He's been emboldened by his family, his human family.
He's been enabled?
He's been enabled. The fault lies with us, the humans.
That's tough.
We, the humans. Yeah, no, it's 4 nights ago, he just decided, actually, this crate, I'm fucking done with it. I won't sleep in it anymore. And we've tried it all. It's not too hot, not thirsty, not has to go to the bathroom. Just...
He won't do it.
He's chosen a different path. He wants to sleep in bed. And so... Okay, fine. The reason we didn't let him sleep in bed before was honestly just because we thought he'd, tumble off it.
Yeah.
But now he, knows the boundaries, and he fell off once. Now Hector has decided, actually, my terms are that I will sleep in bed, and, okay, fine. but he still moves around. He'll walk up and down the bed. He readjusts himself like at least 20 fucking times a night. But he's also, I'm the beta in our family unit. It goes Mittens, Hector, me. And so Hector I wake up like 20 times a night because he sleeps on me. He thinks it's right to sleep on my face. Like bulldogs, like, will put their heads on you, like they'll rest their chins on you. I will wake up because I can't breathe because he's fallen fully asleep on my mouth.
He's like, if I can't breathe with my nose, you can't breathe either.
I'll wake up to him walking on my chest so he can fall asleep on my stomach. No, it's like, it's
sorry,
cute,
but it's cute.
I wake up to him hitting me on the head with his paw. Hitting me on the head. And then here's how every morning ends. Around 5, he decides, oh, now I migrate to pillow. That's where I end my total night's sleep. He edges onto my pillow, pushes my head further and further down. I've woken up the past 3 mornings in the corner, curled in the corner of my bed while he is sprawled on my pillow. And last night we ran an experiment. We switched sides of the bed.
Yeah.
Still,
it didn't matter.
It's me. It's not the side. It's not the setup. It's me. He wants to
be on top of mama.
Torment me. And I'm not sleeping, and I'm waking up angry. Yeah. Yep. But I love him, and like it is so sweet to feel this like soft, warm, furry sweetheart.
It's like a warmie but alive.
He is a warmie.
Yeah.
So true. He's a warmie.
He's a warmie but alive.
Yeah, but your warmie, I'm sure, is a much better.
I had great co-sleep area.
Head
He like ends up on the floor.
You're in the corner. The warmie is sprawled across your pillow.
My 2 warmies are cuddling each other. I'm at the end of the bed.
Slowly caressing each other.
And I'm like, I'll just go. That's really tough.
It's alright.
Maybe you need to get him, like, Hector's pillow.
A few people have said, I just need to assert myself.
But, like, how?
I know I'm asleep. And people are like, actually, I think the problem is really your behavior in waking hours, that he thinks he can walk all over you. But well, I want him to feel
how do you
cuddly.
walk that back? What is Mittens doing? Just being a man?
I think so, yeah.
In my parents' relationship with my dog growing up, I was the beta of the whole family, so I can't. But within their marriage, my mom was the beta. It was like Dad, Lucy, my mom, and like Lucy was like romantically in love with my dad.
Right. And I do think Hector is gay. To be clear, that's not off the table.
Yeah, for sure. But like it got to the point, especially in she slept in bed with them. And she was very, like, possessive of my dad. And it got to the point... I don't think this is going to happen with Hector, but it just reminded me of it. It got to the point in her old age where my mom would try to get into bed, because they always go to bed. My dad goes to bed before my mom. And Lucy would just go to bed with my dad. Yeah. And my mom would try to get in bed, and she'd go, oh, my God. And she would growl at my mom. She was so poorly behaved. But she pissed in my bed out of disrespect.
Yeah, so. Totally.
So it could be worse.
And I'm like, I'm one of your
It
parents.
can still get worse.
You respect me. No, yeah, I don't think I would be boxed out of bed. It's that he's like, come on in. Let's fight.
Let's fight. Let's tussle.
Or just like, I'm his warmie.
I was just going to say, maybe you need to get him a warmie. You know, those things that you give dogs with anxiety that are like, have your heartbeat or whatever?
Yes, maybe so. Oh, Rumble? Did you want to talk about that?
Oh, I had a strange encounter at Rumble today that I did want to talk about. The whole little team here, me, Molly, and Jupes went to Rumble before the pod today. Rumble boxing. And
we went to rumble around.
We went to a rumble.
You should see the other guys.
So in Rumble you switch back and forth between we've talked about this at length. Half the class is boxing and half of it.
When are they gonna pay us?
Literally.
And Brick.
So yeah, you switch back and forth between boxing and weightlifting. And so the 3 of us were coming back to boxing from weightlifting. I was checking the Phillies score and doing a little phone time because you always get a little break. I think of it like a break.
I have never touched my phone in a Rumble class.
During baseball season, I'm bringing my phone into Rumble.
Right.
So I just wanted to check quickly. And then I was kind of like, what else is going on here? And then I was like, okay, time to put my gloves on. And I was at the first bag, closest to the instructor. And I'm like, just because I was late, I wasn't having trouble putting on the gloves, but I think he thought I was having trouble putting on the gloves. So, like, without my consent, really, if I'm being honest, he just kind of grabbed my glove and started, like, Jupe saw it, like, shoving it onto my hand. And I was like, oh, no, I got it. And he was like, no, like, let me help you.
I was like, she's gonna hate this.
And I did. It's like if someone I don't know that well like tries to give me a hug, I'm like, eh.
Was it in like a paternalistic way, or was it in like a you're actually holding up my class way?
No, because everyone else was already boxing. I think
maybe
it was
he's like
really
invested in
paternalistic. I think.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to like thought I was struggling.
Hey, little lady.
It was very like, let me put your glass slipper on for you, and I was like, no, you're making it worse, because now I'm freaking out about how close you are to me. So I'm like forgetting how to put my hands in a glove. I'm like shaking, and then he gets the one, and I'm like, I went thank you to be like, you've been dismissed.
Did you pass him a single? That's all.
And I winked.
Thanks.
Thanks, Toots. And he grabs my other hand and starts shoving it on again, and I'm like, you are making this so uncomfortable for me.
He was really grabbing. Yeah.
I know, and I was like, this like it's not, it would be so much easier if I did this myself, which is the moral of my life. It would just be easier if I did this myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really didn't like it, and there's just something about a male fitness instructor where I'm like,
yeah, yep.
I know they're not, but I'm like, stop. But it reminded me of an interaction I had last night. I ordered Taco Bell at like 11:30 last night because book club. I didn't eat dinner, got home very late, and I opened the door to my Taco Bell delivery guy, and I was wearing a shirt that said "Shuck It" with 2 ears of corn on it. And
where are the 2 ears of corn?
on my bosom.
On your bosom.
And then a pair of like really fucked up sweatpants where like the pockets are cut out. There's like it's like
that's the kind
got
of sexy,
cutouts, but not
right.
And he was so hot.
Oh.
And I literally went, "Hi."
Get out of here, get!
Literally, that's how I felt. I was like, you shouldn't see it like this. This isn't right.
Do you want to see my dollhouse?
We gotta get into that at some point, that I have a dollhouse.
We'll put a pin in that.
But, yeah. But it just reminded me of that interaction. I was so uncomfortable. I was just like, this isn't right. You're not supposed to be this hot. I mean, like, my age. I'm confused.
Here at my threshold.
Like, at my door.
Yeah.
And then he opened it, and he was like, Claire? And I was like,
you know my
yes.
name? Stop flirting.
Stop. Why is everyone flirting with me?
Yeah, no.
Is what it comes down to.
I'm sorry, Claire. He's flirting.
I know. You know how I feel about when men say my first name.
Yeah. Did it cross your mind to be like, what are you doing right now?
I was wearing my Shuck It shirt. No, it didn't cross my mind.
My corn is down here. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's what's going on with me. A lot in the love life department.
But you've also so you have been busy though with one
culture.
The Pit.
I am seeing someone, and it's Dr. Robby every day between 10 p.m. and midnight.
The episodes are 2 hours.
No.
long.
That's me watching 2 episodes.
Okay, all right.
I am feeling mentally ill about the Pit in the way that you added to the DSM-5,
right? Yep.
Right next to Fourth Wing.
Yep. Sure.
When I'm not watching the Pit, I want to be watching the Pit. I want to be in the Pit.
I'm actually hating talking to you right now. I want to watch.
Well, it's okay now because I'm done. But I was immediately like, how do I watch this again? I was like, I'm going home for the weekend. I was like, maybe I can get my parents to watch the Pit.
Yeah. They'll fall asleep. Hey, wake up!
Eyes on Dr. Robby.
Yeah.
And I don't know how anyone can fall asleep during the pit, because it's an adrenaline rush. I said to Jupes when I got here, I wish there were 1,000 episodes of the pit. I wish I could always be in the pit.
I mean, they're working on it, right?
They are. They're back in the studio already.
That's good.
But yeah, I did finish the first season. I loved it so much.
Dr. Robby is your guy.
Dr. Robby is the most beautiful man I've ever had the pleasure of seeing on my screen. I had a couple things I want. Oh, Jupes had warned me about the birth scene.
Yeah, I've seen warnings about that on Twitter.
Nothing could have prepared me for the birth scene. I was like a cartoon. I went.
And
like,
for listeners, right?
Yeah.
She's doing an exaggerated gasp.
Yeah. It was shocking. Like, they show, and let me just say, I went to Catholic school, so I've never seen. They didn't do a birth.
I went to Catholic school, so I was delivered by a stork.
And that's all I want to know. Okay.
No, yeah, we got no functional sex education in our Catholic grade schools.
It was so graphic. They show you, it's literally just like a 10-minute shot. I mean, there's other, but it's a lot of close-ups on her.
Say it. Say it, Sage.
Her vagina.
So it's like below the corn.
Her private parts.
Right.
And it's like they have like an animatronic baby coming out of it. It's so upsetting.
And it's very visibly fake.
I thought the baby was very visibly fake. Yeah. And then, like, also it was just upsetting because the baby wasn't crying. It was a whole thing. The baby's fine.
Okay, thanks.
But, like, the baby wasn't crying, so you're just like, it's like, it was just very hard to watch. But I mean,
God.
we should be putting births on TV, I guess.
Whatever the right thing to say right now is.
Correct.
Yeah. Whatever that is.
I went to Catholic school. I don't know. But I love it so much. I do have one criticism, which I have been seeing on Twitter, so I'm just like retweeting it to say this, but it is very much like the DEI show, where it's like, which is a great thing. To be clear, I like that there's very diverse. Like, I don't know. I think the message of the show is really good about like having I think it's, first of all, the message of the show is have empathy for healthcare workers, which yes.
Yeah. You're banging your pots and pans every night.
I am. And let me tell you, they talk about COVID a lot.
Yeah.
Or they allude to COVID a lot. And then I think like another message is like they're just telling all of these little stories about people whose stories should be told. Let me say that. Cool. But, like, it's very much, and I think I have the Mike White thing that we talked about in the back of my mind of, like, show, don't tell. And it just, every once in a while, it goes into to telling rather than showing, and it's after school special nonsense.
The more you know.
Literally.
Yeah.
There's a part where they, like, the nurses confront the chief medical officer, and they're like, they start, like, dropping, healthcare facts. They're like, yeah, and now 70% of nurses are quit. Like, they start, like, dropping, like, actual statistics. Yeah. And it just takes you out of it.
Yeah, like when Hillary Duff did the infomercial, it's...
yes.
When you say gay...
Exactly.
Do you know what you say?
Literally.
Or whatever it is.
And I'm like, no, I got the message of, like, healthcare workers are overworked.
You have made that so evidently
You just showed me a live birth.
Yeah.
You guys are doing a fine job of showing me dramatic things, like,
yeah.
So it tiptoes into that for me, but still love it to death.
Yeah.
And I was thinking last night at book club, we have a couple of like book club girlies who are teachers, and first of all, everyone in America needs to watch The Pit.
Thank you, Claire.
Just because like it's one of those things where I'm just like, if this doesn't give you empathy, you're broken. But last night I was talking to our teacher friends in book club, and I was like, they need to make The Pit about a day at school.
Such a good call.
Which I know, like, there's, like, shows about school, but, like, show me a traumatic day at an elementary school.
Right, don't make it cutesy.
Yeah, show me how hard it is.
Right.
Show America how hard it is, because I actually think I get it. Well, not get it, but you know what I mean. I have a lot of teachers in my life.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
So that's my take on The Pit.
I'm sold. I'm gonna start tonight.
Please.
I'm
When
gonna
Hector's punching you in the head,
She's like, come on, honey, look at the iPad.
let Dr. Robby talk you to sleep.
I love that. I haven't been watching a lot.
Okay.
So the only thing I've been able to squeeze in this week, viewership-wise, is Survivor. But what I want to say about the season, they're teeing up, this is season 48, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're really, like, ramping up for season 50, which will come next year. Because they do 2 seasons a year. They crank them. And right now they're doing a lot of, like, democratizing the game back to the viewers. They're saying, like, vote on colors and different gameplay elements.
Okay.
And the thing about Survivor that I want to hit on, Jeff Probst is God. He's Survivor God.
Yeah.
He has made a lot of unilateral decisions. Like, he's an executive producer, host. Like, this is his, like, Saw, or, like, whatever. That's the series.
Scream.
When you know Jigsaw, the little guy on the tricycle.
What the hell?
Who comes up with...
Is this your sleep demon when Hector's punching
You guys, there's a whole horror series, like a series of movies wherein a creepy guy on a little tricycle comes up with like horrific conditions to subject his victims to, and it's like a game for him. Jigsaw, no, the Saw movie.
Is it? Oh my god, I don't think it's
Read
Saw.
a book for once. It's not Saw.
Saw is like a guy in a basement, isn't it?
I don't know. Who's to say Jigsaw hasn't gone to a basement?
Well, I'm picturing like a real little guy like Groot.
Okay. And he's a real little guy, and he's on a tricycle. Wow.
Oh, all right. We'll put up a little picture of Jigsaw.
I think so. Yeah, no, Jeff Probst is Jigsaw for Survivor.
Okay.
He's like, he manipulates every aspect of it. There's like an old era and a new era. We're in the new era of Survivor, where Jeff has made a lot of like material changes to the game structure, condensing to far fewer days, introducing additional idols, like
Just trying to get out of there quicker.
Right. Do you know Jeff? I don't know if they're still married, but he married a contestant.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Uh-huh.
God can't marry one of his children.
God can't marry one of his Jigsaw cannot marry one of his victims.
Yeah, I know, that's all right.
But his tricycle has spokes on the back for her to kind of stand on.
Really?
No, but it's like a lot of people don't love New Era because it's heavy-handed, and it's taken a lot of, in my opinion, like the social strategy out of the game. Like now it's kind of like a pretty defined playbook of like how you have to play to get to the final. Like you really have to be middle of the pack, and then you have to like make some resume building moves post merge, like whatever. But like a lot of it was kind of like Lord of the Flies type social game before, and that was quite interesting, and now it's been a little sanitized in the new era. That's my
I don't like that.
But so now he's kind of like putting some of those new era decisions back to viewers. You can vote on it, which I just thought is interesting. We've talked about like art and artists before, and once you put IP out there, whether it's a show, a book, another show.
An original song like Hot Weather.
Right. Like once the IP's out there, even if you like are like whatever the haters say, I don't care, or whatever the fans say, I don't care. Like you are in conversation with them, and the work product becomes theirs as much as yours. I would find it really difficult to not feel influenced by that feedback too.
Oh,
you know, when you're doing your like Jeff definitely sees all the people, like consensus online is like fuck Jeff Probst. Like there was a really good op-ed last year that was like the only way Survivor persists another 50 seasons is if Jeff bows out gracefully.
So, but then you need to find a new Jeff.
God. Yeah,
you need to find Jesus,
the Son of God.
Exactly,
Happy
Molly.
Good Friday.
It's Good Friday Eve.
It is good. Holy Thursday. Some have said. You have said. Yeah, but no, it felt like this is such like an enduring kind of like work product or like story construct
Yeah.
that people believe in very much, are like such fervent fans of, and now to like literally break the fourth wall and say, all right, fine, what do you think? Like, it's interesting. It'd be like taking like a long-standing, very popular series, like a Fourth Wing, and turning
The
to
pit?
Oh. And then like literally Rebecca Yarros saying to her, okay, fine, what do you want Satan to do?
Yeah, oh, I don't like, yeah, it's like, or, sorry, maybe it's, to add on to your metaphor, maybe it's kind of like, it's as if she was writing the first book and she was like, send a write-in. Like, or, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am kind of like, you know, I get like reality TV is different because already like it's super reactive to fan engagement.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, true.
'cause
You don't
it's
have it
grounded in
without it.
reality. Yeah. But at the same time, it feels like once it becomes a choose your own adventure, it's kind of like
It's not really fun anymore.
it loses a lot of the prestige or the like excitement.
To build on to that, actually, I didn't. This is shedding a new light on an interaction I witnessed yesterday at the theater on Broadway.
On Broadway.
On Broadway.
Yes, you were at Broadway yesterday.
Thank you, Molly. Yes, I was. I was at Broadway yesterday. I saw. Well, okay. Let me just back up. I was in the audience at a show, and there was a man in front of me who had a Survivor like bracket on his phone.
Oh,
or
really?
Something. And the guy next to me was like reached down and was like, "Oh my God, we have the same Survivor bracket thing." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know you could do like." So it must have been something to do.
You can bet on everything.
Well, but I think it might have been one of these fan things.
Yeah.
But I was so confused because I was like, I didn't know.
And also why you bring such crass.
Well, let me just say, I was in a theater full of gay men at 2 p.m.
Love.
With my mom.
Yeah.
And because I accidentally took her to see Death Becomes Her, because I entirely conflated Sunset Boulevard and Death Becomes Her in my mind.
Sure.
Because I was like, a show about like a dying Hollywood star who's a woman, I think. Both of them. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know anything about Sunset Boulevard.
I don't either.
I just know that Nicole Scherzinger ends in blood.
Yeah, so probably.
Why? Yeah. Are you
But
calling her aging? She looks great.
she does. Saw her at a bar recently.
Oh yeah, you did. Marie's Crisis, no less.
Yeah, it was really fun, and my mom kept being like, "That was crazy." I had so much fun.
Oh great,
Yeah.
that's good.
So I think she was like, "Yeah, it was fun."
Good daughter award.
I know, but yeah, it was a whole thing because my sister wanted to see Sunset Boulevard, and I literally in my head I was like, "Those are the same
Yeah,
thing."
honey, we're seeing it.
Yeah.
Open your eyes.
Don't you see all the gay men? We're at Sunset Boulevard.
Wait, but you also so you mentioned book club and
Oh, I did. So we had book club yesterday. Oh, I mentioned in the last episode too that I had started reading the book club book. I didn't finish it, okay? And I think this is gonna have to just be one that I don't like to DNF things, and I really actually don't. And it's not that I don't like the book. I just like I was reading it for book club. Book club's now over.
Right.
I'm kind of like. I was also listening to it on audiobook, and I think I've said this before, but like I'm not an audio learner, and I'm just like I was listening to it
No, I
on my
totally
long
agree.
walk, and I was like,
Yes. And it's like
the birdies.
it's like literary fiction, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's
the kind of
yes,
stuff you want to read.
to read.
Yeah.
And I do think it's really well written, and I like
What
it a
does
lot.
that remind us?
It is
The Heaven and Earth grocery store.
the Heaven and Earth grocery store by James McBride, and there are parts. It was very beautifully written. Really enjoyed it. There was one line that pissed me off and reminded me why I don't read books by men.
Ooh.
Let me just read it to you.
Please do.
So he's like describing one of the women in the book, and he says, "She ate like a horse but never gained an ounce." Why? Why do we like that's so I'm sorry, that's just like an unnecessary description of a woman, and also like stop writing these women who don't exist. I'm sorry. Like it's 2025.
It sounds like
Put
your
on the
girl.
pit.
Yeah, your girl has a tapeworm, and she needs to go to the pit.
She needs to go to the pit.
Yeah.
And I know Ozempic's not around yet.
No,
So
I don't know when this book is set.
Also-
but-
Early 1950s.
yeah. I just like that and it just reminded me I can't deal that it annoys me so much when men describe when male authors describe women like that. Like,
Yes.
you don't understand. And I get it, you're a man, you don't understand what being... But you should understand enough
Right.
not to write a woman like that.
Research your novel.
Yes.
And write.
Meet a woman.
Yeah, meet a woman.
Yeah, name a woman.
Well, they all eat like horses.
Literally, and it's like what in the Lorelai
She
Gilmore?
sounds repulsive.
yeah.
Oh my god. And did he mean horse in like the quantity of food or like the manner of eating?
I think the quantity, and doesn't gain an ounce.
Well, that's just
Preposterous. It's magical realism.
Totally, yes.
So that's all I had to say about the book, but
Okay.
I'm gonna get back into reading this week. It just hasn't been my...
Totally.
I've been in the pit. So...
And thank you
Yeah.
for your service.
Bags and pots and pans for me.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm gonna get back into the world of the written word.
Yeah.
So
I've been slow going on good material too, and I like it. It's just
yeah.
it's slow going.
Yeah.
It's bits and pieces here and there, subway
Yeah.
rides. Okay, so the only thing I did read this week, and
Yeah.
then we got to talk about the seminar. We
Yeah.
went to the seminar, the panel.
It was something of a seminar.
Sure, we took notes.
Yeah.
But okay, I read a good article in the Atlantic this week that I thought was like a little bit relevant to just like the prevalence of romance and like kind of our responsibility as romance writers,
Oh,
where
interesting.
we're like representing like sex scenes too. It was by Sophie Gilbert. It's called "What Porn Taught a Generation of Women," and she's really speaking to. She's a little older than us, but she's within our generation. She's a millennial. She talks about being, I think, 16 in 1999 when we were
Okay.
4. When we were 4.
So young.
So young, but she just kind of like tracks how, like, in the late 90s, you were seeing like this like mass explosion of like sex onto the mainstream, both
Okay.
culturally and like literally. I mean, you see like the AIDS epidemic, like
Yeah.
it just like came to the forefront of like American culture. It was happening, like the paradigm was changing so fast on sex and becoming like so extremely something massive in culture that like we weren't even able to understand all of the ramifications as it was
Oh,
happening.
wow.
Even as like all the headlines, all the media, all like cultural kind of artifacts were like sex. It's like you don't really like see how that roots in culture until a decade later.
It's kind of like COVID, I feel like.
Yes. The pit.
Yeah. Sorry.
Just
so the pit.
Yeah. Right, but then, like that felt very true to like our childhoods in
Yeah.
the early 2000s where like
Completely.
you've got, Britney Spears in the black push-up and the polka dot underwear holding a Teletubby and a phone on
Yeah.
the cover of Rolling Stone. Like very sexualized stuff, but now it's not like the discourse isn't explicitly about sex, but it is all about
Yeah.
sex. She calls porn like the biggest like culture maker, like the biggest kind of media of all, like bigger than TV, books, movies combined. She's like, the engagement with pornography is actually extremely widespread, and so it is the zeitgeist in many ways. That's what she argues.
Like
And-
it's trickled down to all of our...
yes,
Yeah.
and so like obviously that was kind of pushed by technology, like just like the .com.
Yeah. Now you're getting porn online.
Right, and that's when it became like such a huge part of culture.
Yeah.
But what was interesting about that, like you bring that into like current context, like porn is the first tech adopter, and she explained it away as like obviously like titillation and novelty, a selling combo.
Yeah.
But like no, it's like really true. Like porn was the first VHS adopters. Like as VHS was becoming a new technology on market, like 80% of available VHS was just adult film.
Yeah.
Like porn, like they move on new technology so fast, and like new AI applications, like let's say AI narration for an audiobook or translation or whatever, like erotica adopts
Yeah.
it immediately. Like
There's just such a market for it.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
like, yes, like the more we can push this, like
Yeah.
it is
People just want more variations of the same.
Yes. Adult content erotica, it is the earliest adopter of all new technologies. It's crazy.
That is very interesting.
And, like, you think, like, that's the very tip of the iceberg with AI. It gets so scary beyond that. But, like, it feels like, are we at another moment where, like, we're not even going to understand the proliferation of, like, additional, like, sexual content or experiences for most people?
Yeah.
By virtue of the new technologies that will, like, seed it into households.
Right,
and,
like, it could have a complete, like, we don't even know what it's going to do to porn yet. Totally. Like, they're already doing stuff, but it's gonna get crazier, I'm sure. I do think it's scary, because I think the way porn is made, porn as we know it, like Pornhub porn, I think the way that that's made is, like, problematic, or, like, what stories are told there are problematic. But I think it's interesting that, like, I think it's just that, like, sex drives so much of human life.
Yes.
And, like, I don't think that in and of itself is a bad thing. Or, like, I think we just as humans have corrupted it so much with,
like, capitalism has corrupted it in so many ways.
And, you're just making the basest, most with one objective,
right. And then because of availability and access and like more people being able to get involved, or there being so much demand that there's like, okay, like supply is incentivized, it gets more and more violent. It gets more and more ugly.
It appeals to the worst.
Yes.
Increasingly worst.
How can we saturate the outermost bound of the market?
Yeah.
Like,
and then they're actually creating those problems in people who maybe didn't already, or not problems, but like new addictions that people didn't have.
Yes.
Darker addictions that people didn't already have.
Totally. And the way Sophie Gilbert approaches it in the art, like the main thesis she's trying to reinforce is like women who grew up as a byproduct of that first, like, big kind of cultural breakthrough of, like, pornography, have to, like, unlearn a ton of stuff about their own, like, obviously objectification in media, but, like, you know, as you see, like, a cultural echo of the early aughts now, where, like, you know, politically, socially, there's, like, a lot of that same kind of, like, women are subjugated kind of energy out there right now. She was saying, you know, like, we did make progress, at least in our own self-concepts. Like, and so she, like, you know, champions the exercise of unlearning a lot of the shit that shaped us when we were growing up, and that might feel kind of familiar right now. But she also, you know, like, I thought it was interesting from, like, a perspective of creating art right now. I think the boom of romance writing, romance literature, largely written by women too, or, you know, like people who are not interested in telling some of those like super male gazy type pornographic stories. Like, I think like, it's like a market that tries to care for like
women.
Women.
Just to center women in these like stories.
Or like, redeem that space where like sexualized content doesn't have to be pornographic content, like pornographic pejorative and like all of those, like all the baggage I kind of just laid out. But like the example she gave of like where like there might she's hopeful that it might not be like the same kind of like appetites for that violent or like extreme male gaze like sexual content right now. It was how The Idol flopped. She was like, you know, Sam Levinson pushed it, and we've talked about Euphoria before on the pod, but like Sam Levinson with Euphoria already pushed it really far, and like he, you know, said, I'm trying to make commentary on like current adolescent experiences because they look very different now than they did a decade ago. Yeah, fine, whatever. Like, obviously he brings it to the gratuitous place, but like, she points to The Idol being like really just like pretty pornographic and like kind of violent in its approach to women, and she's like, you know what, like, I think people kind of said like gross.
I wonder if though there's like a level of like gross on HBO, like fine when I watch it on my incognito tab on Pornhub.com, but don't put it on my prestige channel.
I'm watching with my wife.
No,
I don't know.
have like a, I don't know, I kind of feel like the boom of, I don't feel that the boom of romance books is, I do think it's a reaction to like our culture's addiction to violent porn, but I don't think it's like, I actually think it's like a beautiful victory over violent porn.
Yes, like I think it's like women being like, we can be sex positive.
Yeah, no, like, no, we like,
right,
but we just don't want it to be like that.
right.
Yeah,
I think that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did some mulling over that. I don't know if I actually got to any coherent insights, but it was
I think it's
interesting.
very good to keep in mind, and I do think like because that's not. I mean, like we both read a lot of romance, but like we're writing it for the first time. Like there is going to be some unlearning, I think, or like learning, I guess, how to write. Like we know what we want to write, but like how do you do it in a way that like where you're not, your inner biases or like issues aren't coming out, you know?
Where it's not like I was raised in the 2000s.
Yeah, like how do I make sure that that's in check?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's exactly. Thank you for making sense of what I just tried to say.
I don't think I did.
All right, so should we talk about
The lecture we went to yesterday.
The lecture.
So yeah, Molly found this panel that we went to at McNally Jackson, the bookstore here in New York City, this week, and it's a series of panels, right? But
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was the second, and the first one was about like getting an agent.
Yeah. So it's all about like writing your first novel.
So we missed our big shot there.
Yeah.
But this panel was about the debut novel.
Yes. And I don't remember. There was 4 people on the panel.
Yes.
And
Randy, Isaac, blonde girl, and brunette girl.
We don't see women. Now that we've talked about centering women.
So they were all within the publishing industry, either like able to speak to trends and like publishing, or like sitting in a role where they're kind of like not a gatekeeper, but like they're facilitating or stewarding books through the publishing process.
Yes.
But only one of them was a published author, had
That's
published
correct.
a
And 2.
book.
One was a nonfiction
Oh,
published
2
author.
had published nonfiction.
Yes, I think that's right.
Yes.
And then one was like a nonfiction writer who worked at McNally Jackson.
Yes.
I think.
But none had written a novel.
Correct. Which is interesting that they were
Yeah.
hosting this. But I do think they gave us a lot of good insights.
Right. And like it's kind of like someone who's published a novel can only speak to their like N of 1 experience, where they
these people were like
sit
studying.
across a bunch of
Yeah.
publication processes. Yeah.
Do you want to any takeaways?
Yeah. Well, let's see.
I can kick us off.
Go for it.
I thought it was really interesting. I felt very much like an outsider at that event.
Yeah.
I was like, because there were people in the audience who knew each other. They were like, "Hey, girl!"
Right.
Like there was like a community,
Yeah.
and I felt very much on the outside of that. And I think I had some negative feelings about it, and I had some positive feelings about it, because at first I was kind of like, "Oh, like, am I so out of my league here? Like."
Yeah.
I should know more. Like, they were even saying things that I don't know, to be honest. Like, and they all seem to have these little inside jokes about their MFAs.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But
Yeah.
then I also felt, like, positively about it, where I was like, I think as an outsider, there is, like, a level of advantage here, where I'm kind of like, I'm coming at this from a very, like, fun perspective, and, like, honestly, kind of like the stuff that they said about business really resonated with me. I was like, and I think that's like our marketing background, maybe, like
we're business people.
Yeah, like I was like, I feel like I understand.
I feel also that like it's kind of like that's I can't stop me because I can't read. Like it's like we're not going to be. I felt a little undaunted, like relative to other people in the room, where they're like, oh yeah, all of these, you know, tried and true barriers that we face. And I was like, well, you know,
I was like, what barriers? Because they've never existed to me before.
Certainly we will meet them in time,
for sure,
but like it I agree, it felt like, okay, cool, I'm not gonna worry about that until it's at my doorstep.
And I think this, like, and I don't know if this is like not nice to say or whatever, but like so many people there, I think that it's like all they want in the world
Yeah.
is, and I don't want to say that's not what I want, because I do want to publish a book.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I think, and this was a point they made a lot, where it was like, this can't be your only thing.
Yeah.
But I think I just have a different, I don't know.
No, totally. I think it was Randy who said, like, people ask, well, what happens after I publish a book? Like, okay,
Yeah.
you put your debut novel into the world. What happens next? And he's like, you live.
Yeah.
You live, period.
Yes.
You go on to your day job. You, you know, care for your family. You take your dog on a walk. You, like, you just live. Like, it's, and it, I don't know if this is where you're coming from, but it did feel like a lot of people in the room might have needed to hear that.
Yeah, and I felt like duh.
Yeah, right. All we know is like living and then like
and
eking out the time we can to push
Yeah.
this project forward. Yeah.
And I think that's like and we've talked about this not on the podcast, but just like as friends before. Like that's, I think, our approach to, like, that's always been my approach, is like I make time for stand up in between with having to put a roof over my head. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So yeah, I was kind of just like, of course. And I actually think it behooves us to be coming from the outside of this industry a little bit.
Will I look forward to the day I'm on the inside too? Yeah, of
100%,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, but I agree. It didn't make me feel like, what are we doing? Yeah.
I think just, and like, there were certain questions that I didn't ask because I was like, they're too basic.
Really? Like, why?
Because they kept talking about querying, like sending out your pitch on your book, and I was just like, when do you do that?
I know.
And then they did kind of answer it anyway.
I thought that was interesting.
Yes.
So when he was like, because I think people do it at different stages.
Yeah.
Like, it sounded like there's a path where you finish a manuscript and you get it to 80%. And then, like, it sounds like people typically seek agents before. Like, what came across very clearly to me is, like, the sequence is agent, editor.
Yes.
And then you're off to the races. So it sounds like people might seek agents at different times in the process. But, like, it sounded like for the editor involvement, it was like, and I think that's the querying, because the editors are associated with the publishers.
Yeah.
But it sounded like that, like, could be you have your manuscript 80% or like at a B+. Those were the two different, like,
that was a big takeaway
heuristics they were
me.
using. Yeah.
And I was like, love to hear that.
Yes. Or remember when one of them was like giving advice on, okay, like what is a good way to get like a bite if you're just out there kind of spraying and praying, whatever. It was like the recommendation was try to publish shorter pieces, even if they're nonfiction. Just like get some writing out there with like a name, you know, a magazine or whatever, so that you can like link to something.
Yeah.
There's like a hard artifact of like me as a published author. Link it out. Say like, hey, I like your vibe, whatever, and then give a short pitch on the project you're thinking about. And that to me sounded like, that's not 80%.
I know, that to me sounded like, oh, let me pull out my phone right now.
First to publish something.
Yeah.
But
so I'm kind of like, and they talked a lot about social media.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I think publishing, not to be reductive, can mean anything you want it to be. No, but I just mean like, I took a lot, I don't really want to get into this, but like, building a brand, I think, is what that's my focus.
Yes.
Not necessarily building a publish, which I don't know, maybe is a bad idea. But.
No, I think that also tracks. Be like, this is gonna sound reductive or trite, but like be authentic. Like, like you're gonna find your audience, your agent, your editor, just by like doing things that are like true to like what you actually enjoy and like how you actually are. Like, so when they were talking about social, it's like, if you're like into social, like do social the way you do. Like, don't now like spin up a persona to push your book or to try to like generate some kind of fandom. Or like when you're looking for an agent or looking for an editor, like I thought good advice from the panel was like, the books you like, the kind of books you aspire to read, look in the acknowledgements.
Totally.
And then who are the agents, who are the editors? Like, find the people who are working on projects that you admire or with authors that you see as blueprints for your own career. Reach out to them directly. Like, you want people who like authentically fuck with you. And, like, you get them by showing
Being
up as yourself. Yeah.
I totally agree. And I guess it's like, to me, it's like there are multiple ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
Like, there are multiple ways to
But
get...
how to save the cat.
Oh, golly. I wish I knew.
There's only one way to save the cat, and it's 15 beats.
And they're seared into my eyelids. No, I do think this was, like, I feel like, again, a thing that the room needed to hear. Like, that there are multiple different ways to get into this industry, and you don't know what it's going to... You should find the one that feels right to you.
Yep.
And do that.
And they were saying, like, community.
Yes.
Like, go to the networking shit. Like, build the people around. Because, like, I think they were also saying pretty repetitively, like, get used to disappointment. Like, you're gonna get rejected all the hell. Oh, I thought this was like a good little just pull quote. Hollywood, it's 100 yeses to get a no in the end.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's like, yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, this project's going to the moon, like, whatever. And then at the very end, it's like, no financing, sorry.
Yeah.
But in publishing, it's 100 no's to get to the yes. And, like, yeah, cool. Like, that feels...
Yeah, this was a point I wanted to make too, is that, like, I feel so comfortable with rejection, like, at least in terms of my creative stuff, because, like, and I'm sorry, I feel like it's annoying when I talk about stand-up.
It is not at all annoying
like,
when you talk about stand-up. It's super relevant.
That's my whole thing, is writing, like, to me, a B+. Oh my god, I've never taken a joke on stage as a B+. I've only taken D's on stage. And
those
then
double D's.
Those double D's on stage. And I've eventually gotten them to B+. Like, it's, like, that is so antithetical to... So when he was like, you have to get...
a live audience.
Right. And so, like, but when he was saying, like, you have to get to a place where you're ready to, like show your baby to someone. I'm like, I'm like the baby. I'm showing my baby.
My animatronic.
I made the baby 2 seconds ago, and so I think I could go tell this to 30 strangers, like, see what they think.
This fucking
like,
podcast is us, like,
totally.
do you want to look at our butts again?
And literally, I think this podcast, like, it's helped me with stand-up, because we are talking about really, like, not super vulnerable, but pretty vulnerable. Doing anything and creatively is vulnerable. And I think all these things just feed into each other. But, like, I'm just like, he was like, you have to start getting ready to, like, show people what you're working on. And I'm like,
what you do for stand-up is, like, the most high endurance.
I'm not, like, thank you, I guess. But, like, I'm like, oh, I wish I could just, like... That's why I was like, I'm ready to query now. Like,
yes!
I've got an idea. Who wants to hear it? Like,
anyone with a passing knowledge of the stand-up scene should know. Like, you are you are as brave as the doctors on the pit. And actually,
thank you. Ring the bell.
Season 2, education. Season 3, stand-up comedy. So how
then everyone would be like, actually, America is horrible. Let's actually keep things the way they are. Let's make sure those comedians stay not having health insurance.
Stop. No.
Yeah, no, I was just like, oh my god, I have that already.
Right, no.
I get rejected constantly.
No, like, I think it was like Isaac on the panel kept saying, like, writing is inherently solitary. Like, we all want to stay in our rooms. I'm like, what?
And again, this is where I'm like, I think that's where we have this advantage of being like...
I hope so.
I don't really think so. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. And I also heard the women who were sitting in... Okay, the women sitting in front of us, they... before the talk started, I think it was before you got there, they were like, and, you know, I think all writers are introverts. To some extent, one of them said. And I actually do, I don't know if I believe that. I think all writers are, like, observers.
Yeah.
Not necessarily...
But I think the best writers live.
Yes. I just don't... I totally didn't like that, like, oh, you shut in your room with your candle, Joe, from Little Women. It's like, there are multiple ways to skin a cat, and there are multiple breeds of the cat, by the way.
Hating that. What?
Oh, I finally took the cat metaphor too far. I was just trying to say, I think writers can come in different forms. I don't like this overgeneralization of the what a writer is.
Do you know what this sounds like?
A bit.
No, the beef I have with Mindy Kaling.
Oh, we totally McNally. Oh yeah, Molly has big beef with Mindy
I
Kaling.
do. Sorry, and like, would I love to be a book club pick of yours? Yes, Mindy. Please don't let this preclude me. But in her book, Is Everybody Hanging Out Without Me? I think it was her first book. She kind of belabors the point that like she only became the comedy writer and the success that she is today because she was like a nerdy kid, like obsessed with comedy, like staying in on Saturday nights to watch SNL, like you know, just not, she didn't have friends or party in high school. She was like singularly focused on like going to Dartmouth and then like being a comedy writer. And then I think in Sex Lives of College Girls, she kind of has that like comedy, the character who's just like so goes to school knowing it's comedy writing or nothing. But I, from that book on, have been like, you know what, Mindy? There are other ways to skin a cat. Because she just was basically
you really don't like, there are other breeds of cats.
I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it because I don't think of breeds for cats, but I guess you've got your orange tabbies, you've got your
striped tigers, I don't know.
your fluffy whites, I don't know. what
Sorry, we did.
Duchess? Is that one?
Calico.
Oh, Calico. Good. Yeah, there are multiple breeds of cats. Yeah, but I took umbrage with it. I think I read it in college, and I was like, well, what if you were cool in high school?
And meanwhile, I was like, nah, she got a point. Merely because I was not cool in high school.
I don't think I was that cool either.
I agree with you that there are multiple breeds of cat, and like, which is what you said,
you
not
agree
me.
With you.
But I do think you have to have at a point been not cool.
Yeah, like you have to at the very least like have empathy across the human experience. And like cool people get hurt feelings too. I'm not speaking as like the resident cool person either. I'm like
no,
very self-conscious that other people will be like, she thinks she's cool. I don't think that.
I think you had to have some kind of like I no, but I actually think that's a really good point that cool people have feelings too. I'm being serious.
Not some.
Oh no, I actually do think I think you're making a good point that like to be human is to have your feelings hurt.
I mean, yeah, and I also think like a lot of people who are like socially successful are so because they understand. They get the rules of the game really well. Yeah, and so like I would say that speaks to some depth, some emotional depth. I am not trying to like represent cool people, right?
It's okay. You stand with your people.
Hey, ladies. Like, this is the exact stereotyping that prevented her from being friends with me for almost a calendar year of college.
But you know, there's this episode of 30. This always makes me think. This conversation makes me think of that episode of 30 Rock where Liz Lemon like thought she was the uncool kid in high school, and it turns out she was so mean. She thought no one could hear her because she was like saying mean shit under her breath, and it turned out that like everyone was like that. She's like a huge bully.
She's so mean.
Which is not. But I just think that like that it is. Everyone thinks that they are the special boy and girl, and it's like
the main
we're
character.
all just doing our best out here.
Yeah, we're all having our own experiences, and we can't know each other's fully. But boy, would I like to learn more about it.
Boy, would I like to skin that cat.
Was there anything else that we were like, wait, huge?
Yeah, no, I don't think. I thought all the financial stuff was interesting, and I thought the stats, like, while some of them were bleak, others were, like, again, like, of course.
Like, if you have any, like, semblance of business knowledge, like, you're familiar with, like, a funnel. Like, like,
yeah.
These
people need to get out more.
Oh, but my candle! And now it sounds like the cool girl bullying the little writers.
I feared this whole thing sounded like, we got there, we were like, dweeb, dork.
Not to blow up her spot, but Siege literally wrote the word dweeb, elbowed me, and pointed to it at a certain moment.
We are never going to publish books. I forget what the point was, but it was like, get off of social media. And I was like, fucking dweeb.
Actually, that's like pretty important.
Yeah, I don't know. That was one of those things where I'm like, I'm just coming at this from a different perspective, I think.
I agree. And I think, like,
Different world.
And it's a perspective authentic to us. And so that is honoring their feedback. Like, we're going to do it our way.
Maybe they'll have us on for the next panel.
Oh my God.
Got that, I suppose.
We are so not allowed in McNally Jackson again. Oh. I thought, like, also, you know, data lady. So she, you know, debut novels being her focus. When we keep saying, like, bleak stats, she was, you know, just saying, like, one of the big takeaways, debuts, like, often there's no follow-up.
Yeah.
It's 60% of debut novelists never publish book 2. To me, that actually sounded way lower than I would have expected. Like, I would have assumed, like, 90% attrition, honestly.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good point. Yeah. I think the other point they were making is, like, again, like, make sure you have, you're building something outside of this, which is, like, I don't know.
However, debuts are still, they're sparkly, they're dazzling. Like, there's still a disproportionately high demand for debut novels in the market.
Actually. So 20% of book deals every year are debut novels, which is pretty good.
It's that's feels high to me, and, like, that's encouraging. Like, I was like, great, there's an appetite for new. I think, like, the pairing of those two stats, they were meaning to, like, draw out the narrative. Yeah, there might be appetite for, you know, a debut, but think of your career, think of your craft as a lifelong thing. Like, the industry isn't right now particularly well suited for fostering talent to that book too. But then, you know, they were even, like, I think that was the point of, like, finding your people, finding the right team around you, where, like, you can have a career-long relationship, whatever. But yeah, no, I felt like, okay, fine, like, you do your debut, you live, you figure out what your next move is.
And all these people had careers, some of them, again, published, some not, had careers beyond that looked very different, you know, which I think is, like, great. It's, like, as long as you're doing the thing you want to do in whatever font that is, like, you've won.
Yes.
So,
yeah, so I was like, cool, 20%. Great.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
If you guys are hungry for debut novels, do we have 2 books for you?
Yeah. Yum, yum.
We gotta start querying.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I've got a TikTok about it if they want to see.
They also gave us some good recommendations for books on the industry that
they did.
I ordered Merchants of Culture.
You didn't tell me.
I had an Amazon cart full of Hector's little things. I have to buy him more ass wipes, like, every 2 days.
So you just threw Merchants of Culture in there with it?
I did.
Okay, well, that could be a fun exercise for us at some point to read that.
Yes, I think so. And then other, like, nice little, like, just name drops that I will follow up on too. 826 NYC as a, like, volunteer opportunity. It's like they teach writing to kids. It's cool. And,
like, it was pitched to us as, like, a great way to also, like, find a community of other writers.
Right. Yep. And that feels like an authentic way to find, like, you know, rather than, like, being really nervous.
Are you also an introvert? I am an introvert.
We're, like, actually nice girls, and we'd love to be friends with other authors, and we don't judge them.
We don't want to, Yeah.
So, I definitely was glad we went, and I'd
too.
love to, whatever the next in series is.
I think we should keep going.
Yeah,
because maybe we'll become friends with some of the some of the
we're
people.
Really cruising for that. Yeah, like, we're on track for sure.
I think it could happen for us.
Yeah, and then, like, it's the McNally's in Seaport that has a bar attached to it, and the vibe was very much like,
stay and have a drink.
Yeah, stay and have a drink. You have, like, a $5 voucher. You can use it at the bar.
Yeah.
And we were like, bye.
We're like, we gotta go to book club.
But I'll go back for more.
Oh, same.
It was, like, and it's so nice to have people, like, willingly share all this stuff that they've, like, the knowledge they've hard won
Yeah.
I'm not taking for granted that I can sit in a room and be like, that's obvious. No, like,
No, yeah.
to have it, like, packaged up like that is extremely helpful.
As someone who's largely outside of the publishing industry, I thought it was, like, a really, like, it was great to understand a little bit more, first of all, what we're getting into, and get some insider secrets about it. So.
For sure. Like, and they were super transparent about the financials. Like,
yeah.
It feels cart ahead of horse, but, like, yeah,
sure.
like, to think of, like, front loading in advance and feeling the pressure of, like, earning that out for a large publisher with whom you're supposed to, like, be maintaining an ongoing relationship versus, you know, maybe, like, getting the smaller signing bonus, but then, like, having a nice time with your royalties.
Yeah.
Oh, and that was interesting, too, where, like, again, the social of it all feels like their advice might be counterfactual to this point they made later, where they were like, once it's published, like, don't think of your publisher as, or you'll have PR, you'll have a team, but, like, that can't be where that ends. Like, you're ultimately pretty responsible for, like, developing, like, an audience and, like, ongoing engagement with your work.
Yeah, they're gonna push you out into the world.
Right. No, but it was, like, super interesting to hear, like, yeah, royalties are, like, a great setup. Or, like, I think this was, again, us being outside the publishing industry, but, like, when they were described, the room seemed to really resonate with this, like, notion that your signing bonus, or your advance, sorry, that signing bonus is what you get in corporate, your advance on your book.
Yeah.
That was, like, a very emotional number because it seemed to be, like, the summation of the value of your work. And for these people who've spent years on it, whatever. And I was like, no, like, that's just, it's part of your comp package.
Yeah.
Like, you negotiate the different terms. But that was really interesting to know because that changes the negotiation, too.
Totally.
And it's really helpful to know, like, how other authors are approaching that same dynamic and what it means to them. Like,
yeah. And the stories of, like, getting a small advance might not be the worst possible thing that can happen to you. It's going to feel emotionally loaded if that happens to you, but, like, it actually could, you might come out. Yeah. And I think it's like, you just don't know what the, like, you can do all the right things and, like, who knows what's going to happen, you know?
And I don't know if you felt like this, but when they're like, yeah, $5,000 advance and then you get this nice royalty balance, like, I think I'd be like, great. Yeah. I'm seeing that now, and, you know, we have, like, a fixed container on, like, what, like, how we're gonna create our books, and it's a year, and, like, we have a lot of clarity on, like, what we're investing in the books, too. Yeah. But, I was like, I don't think that would feel like
a loss.
Don't bring this to the negotiating table later. Like, I don't want to anchor low, but, yeah, no, I didn't, at least, like, thinking through it now, I wasn't like, oh, God, that number would really puncture my
feelings. I would just be so happy to have achieved the goal and done the thing. Right. Yeah. But I can also see, like, if this is what you have all these things you've gotten an MFA, or, like, you have all you have life to pay for, and you've poured so much of your life into this, then it's, like, so disappointing if you finally get the only thing you've ever wanted, and it's a letdown.
So. And maybe all of this, like, publishing intel and, like, the packaging of it all, like, how to whatever, I'd say, like, really the thesis underneath, like, everyone's input on the panel was, like, craft over everything. Like, focus on making the work really good. Yeah. And they were purists, you know? They were like, even if you're a book on the shelf, like, every book on the shelf has been, like, curated. Like, editorially curated. Yeah. Like,
edited to death.
Yeah. And like, a lot of these people, like, were dead before they got any acknowledgement. Yeah. But they're like, when you write something good, it stands the test. Yeah. I think that's right. And, like, it helps me kind of frame everything too. Like, focus on making it good.
And, like, it's kind of comes back to what we talked about with Aaron, where, like, the work is the reward, unfortunately. Yes. Totally. Sitting down every week with your friend is the reward. Yes. Writing 10,000 words for Jupes is the reward.
And it is so. It feels that way.
It does.
So, I
feel very...
Winner, chicken dinner.
Creatively juiced right now.
Wow. All right. On that note...
Should we?
What's the most romantic thing that happened to you this week? Who would have seen this coming.
Boxing instructor or Uber Eats driver? Who to pick? For me, or which one of my warmies? 4 men vying for my attention.
Yes.
I feel like I'm doing a role reversal with you this week where mine is about animals.
Oh.
I have just had so many, and it's because I've been outside a lot this week.
Totally.
Where I've had some, like, witnessed some beautiful things with animals. Mostly dogs and men.
A winning combo.
A winning combo. I obviously we live on the Upper East Side, full of old people, and I was like leaving my building, and I saw like an old man hanging out with his old friends and their dog, but he was like mostly engaging with their dog, like, oh, to see my other friend. You know what I mean? Like they clearly had their own relationship.
Right.
It's like when you bring a friend into your friend circle, and then it's like now we have our own friendship.
Jess is texting you.
Exactly. Like that was just beautiful, and like the dog was so happy to see him. Like they were locked in. And then I also saw on my long walk, like a man who I think like knew the dog. Again, it was like they had their own relationship.
Yeah.
And then also he knew the dog's owner, but he like came out of a bodega with treats for the dog.
Oh,
you know.
Come on.
And then my third one was last night. We were sitting outside of McNally Jackson, and Molly and I were talking, and all of a sudden she's like, and there's a Westie. It was so funny. No, it was like, it was like vibrating.
He was on his back paws, fully strained against his leash to engage with Siege.
Yeah, he was like, hi. Like we had known each other in a past life.
Yeah, oh, totally.
And I was like, hello, like, let's talk. And all I had for him was a dirty tissue. But
it was very sweet.
yeah, and I was just like, dogs.
Dogs.
Oh, and then I went to book club. Right. Then I went to book club, and Natasha's cats were loving on me, and I was like, it's just one of those weeks, I guess.
Good animal weird.
Yeah.
Love it.
That's fine.
Our most romantics are very parallel.
I love that.
Very similar.
Okay, I love it.
And I
It's
really
bound to happen eventually.
Yes, and I also think it really just speaks to the heightened romance in New York City when it gets warm.
Yes.
Oh my God. Mine, for my most romantic, I'm going to ask you to walk with me.
I thought you were going to take your shirt off. I was like, okay.
Take a walk with me. Literally, my walk here, it was like, it's turned into a beautiful seasonal night. 3 little vignettes I have to share.
Oh, yay.
And this was a rather short walk. It was about 12 minutes all in. But first romantic thing, I love getting snippets of conversation when you're walking in the city. Oh my God. This guy was on the phone. He was like a Wall Street type, but the pitch he was making was really romantic, actually. He's going, I'm all in. I just want a piece of you. I want to invest in you. So you think about how we can make that happen, because it's you. I was like, kiss. Just kiss already.
Just kiss me through the phone.
I found it very darling.
That is, yeah.
And, business transactions can be very intimate.
Well, it comes back to it's all sex and romance,
all
baby.
Sex and romance, baby. So that was my first, romance. And then I make it to that stretch between, second and third, 91st, where it's, only pedestrian traffic, which is romantic in and of itself. Yeah. Cars are antithetical to romance. Foot traffic is romantic.
Okay, you gotta talk to F. Scott Fitzgerald. It's his whole thing.
To Mayor Adams.
Yeah.
But there was a man sitting on a bench, and he had in one hand an ice cream cone, which I just love to see an adult man with an ice cream cone too, on what turned into a beautifully warm night. And in the same hand he has the ice cream cone, a lit cigarette. Romance.
He's gonna die early, but it's gonna be good.
It's gonna be good. Double vices on a beautiful night. I love it.
You should. From April to August, you should be doing double vices.
Totally. Double vices per hand.
Yeah.
I would like the other hand to have a margarita and a Zin or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, then the third rule of 3, third romantic thing that happened towards the very tail end of my walk. Towards the end of my walk. We passed by a bar attended by Dara, who facilitated our conclave birthday party. We came to Dara 4 days before the party, said, "Could we have our party at one of your bars?"
He owns 3.
We just realized we got a 30th birthday party this weekend that we invited a bunch of people to. Could we use one of your bars for that?
Maybe for free?
Yeah. Oh, and
It was for free.
What a real one.
Yeah.
So we, like, are nothing but nuisances to him.
I called him a friend of the pod, but he said he hates this. So.
Hates it. But he also just could not be gruffer with us. But I don't live, like, I don't see him very often at all. I see him maybe once a quarter.
Yeah.
But I walked by and he happened to be walking out of one of his bars and we, like, you know, intersected perfectly and I go, "Hi, Dara." He goes, "Oh, hey, Molly." And it's just, hey,
It was
bye.
a quick.
Yeah, and we see each other truly once a quarter.
Yeah.
But, "Hey, Dara." "Hey, Molly."
That's all it had to be.
And it was just a gorgeous little romance.
That is very romantic.
I love the city, I love the weather, and I love walking.
And you know what? I gotta give Dara a shout out. He is really, like, he cultivates such a neighborhood. He does a lot for this neighborhood. The young drinkers of this neighborhood.
And the old drinkers, too.
And the old. He really creates, like, a community, I guess, in this neighborhood.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, "I fucking hate your stupid podcast.
My name out of your mouth."
Free advertising.
Yeah.
But he just, like, I don't know, because you know he has so many regulars at all of his bars, and everyone knows each other. It's,
Yeah.
And that is it's a props to him for creating.
It's romantic.
That.
Yeah. Well, listen, it's nearly midnight.
It's almost Good Friday.
We gotta go.